Welcome to the Ninth Circle, and this is Bill here with another video. This one is a contest entry for Johnny Mac over at Rock and Metal Plus. But first, we are listening to, currently in the background, Rothead's Romanian death metal band. This is their album Slither and Slime from 2022 on Memento Mori. A really good album. Really good, nasty death metal, like I said, Romania. So that's what is playing in the background. So Johnny Mac just recently exceeded 500 subscribers, and so I thought he was doing a contest, so it seems like it's a good time to jump in here. He wanted us to show 5 releases that got us into different genres of music, different subgenres of music, as well as give 5 shout-outs. So we'll start here. Like a lot of you, I'm an old crusty bastard, so we're going to start first with just straight-up metal. My first pickup on the metal front here. This probably would have been, I don't know, I'd say when I first heard this, early 80s, probably like 1983. This record right here, Black Sabbath, Master of Reality, which is still my all-time favorite Black Sabbath record. Just on black. This is not the copy. I have an older copy than this, but it's not here right now. But, of course, you got Children of the Grave, which is one of my all-time favorite songs of theirs. Lord of This World, Into the Void, After Forever, Sweet Leaf, of course. How can you not love it? So that would be my introduction. That's where I started going down the left-hand path there, was certainly Black Sabbath. Probably 10 years old, maybe when I first heard that. Neighbors who were older, you know, who were into metal and stuff. So, but that was when I first started showing interest. So, a few years later, hanging out with some friends, going thrash metal next. Slayer, Hell Awaits. This is, of course, their second album. And this is still to this date probably my favorite Slayer record too. This is a picture disc edition that I got a few years ago. I've got multiple versions of this, but I figured I'd show this one because, you know, it doesn't have the art on it, but it's kind of cool. I think it's basically the same on both sides. Yeah, it is. It's not really any different, but it's a picture disc version of Hell Awaits, so what's not to love about this one? You're talking about, of course, like the title track, Kill Again, Dawn They Sleep, Praise of Death, flip it around here again, Necrophiliac, who could forget, Hardening of the Arteries, Crypts of Eternity. There you go, there's that picture disc version here, just kind of blood splatter. This album, they're going off the rails, man. Like, at this point, you can tell they're just playing as fast and as hard as they can, and they're barely keeping it together, and that's what I love about it. Like, I'm a really big fan of albums where bands are pushing their, like, abilities to the maximum, where they're barely able to hold it together, and that record, 100% amazing. Just fucking frenetic, and just completely unhinged. The most unhinged, I would say, Slayer ever was. So, anyway, next, we'll go death metal. So this, we're shooting more, we're going like early 90s here. So this would be probably the first death metal album, not that I heard, but the first one I really got into. Carcass, Necroticism, Descanting the Insalubrious, of course, is there. I mean, the first 2 Carcass records are basically grindcore, gore grind, death grind, whatever you want to call them, and they're great, and I fucking love them. But this is their first death metal album, and this is also probably their only pure death metal album. You know, Heartwork, it's more melodic death metal. It's where they started to incorporate more heavy metal influences. Swan Song, definitely tons of heavy metal influences. And of course, their comeback records, Surgical Steel and Torn Arteries, you know, very much a blend of heavy metal and death metal and all that. So, but this was pretty much my real first love for death metal, and I don't know if it's my favorite Carcass. I mean, it probably is, but it's hard to say. But I definitely love that record. So that's number 3, my death metal record. So that's it for vinyl. So number 4, black metal. Black metal was a little later. Obviously, black metal for me was more like late 90s. I'd have been hearing about all the crazy Norwegian stuff for several years, but I didn't really know anybody who was into it, so eventually I just, in a record store, decided to, I picked up a few other things and didn't necessarily love it, but when I got this, it clicked. Definitely Dark Throne, Ablaze in the Northern Sky. This one, like I said, obviously this is more of a transitional record between Soulside Journey and, the other, like, Under a Funeral Moon. This is not the most black metal thing they did by any stretch, but I think this is, like, enough of a step in that direction that it was easier for me to digest than, like, Transylvanian Hunger, which is, I love that record, but I mean, I think for a lot of people, that's Transylvanian Hunger is not a good first introduction to black metal. It's pretty blown out, primitive, so it's like, if you're not, it takes a little bit, you have to kind of get a little bit more used to it, I'd say, in order to really adjust to that. So, yeah. That would be probably my first black metal. That started me on the black metal journey. And we're going to throw in industrial here. Skinny Puppy, Last Rites. Got this right when it came out in 1992. This was my introduction to Skinny Puppy. Not my favorite. Too Dark Park is my favorite. But this was the first Skinny Puppy record I ever heard. And it was just, I mean, it's just nightmare fuel. I mean, that's the thing. There are dancey elements to it, but it is so layered and so disturbing. I mean, the thing about this album is, you listen to this on headphones, you can hear so many different layers. I mean, these guys, there were so many drugs involved, and I'm not glorifying the use of drugs, but it definitely shows the kind of weird, sort of paranoid, psychedelic, nightmarish soundscapes. The singles, like Killing Game was a single off this. Kind of a disturbing, personal anecdote. Mirror Saw is more like the kind of dancey song on this. But I mean, everything on this is good. River's End, Lust Chants, Circus Stance, Download, Love in Vain, Inquisition, Scrapyard, Love It, Nowhere. Great fucking record. And the artwork, too. I mean, look at that fucking cover. Look at that cover. It's incredible. Let me take it out. There's too much glare. There you go. An amazing cover, Like I said, Too Dark Park, definitely my favorite, but this, pretty damn close. So those are my 5. I mean, I could do more. I could do a punk hardcore one, post-punk goth stuff, but I said, we're going to keep it to 5, and so I figured I would do these. Alright, shout-outs. First of all, okay. I'm going to try to shout out some people that are fairly new to me. Most of their channels are fairly new. And also people I haven't shouted out before. Of course I could shout out, a lot of great people, but I'm going to shout out some people that are either newer or people that are new to me. So, first off, I'm going to do Stormwind 79. Great channel, great dude. I don't know how long he's been doing it. I've been watching him for a few months here, and he's super friendly Australian guy. Though I don't know if he lives in Australia actually anymore, but he does a lot of threads. He does some collection updates, that sort of thing. Super cool dude. So Stormwind 79, first shout out. Shout out number 2. I've seen a lot of other people shout her out, but I think because she's new, she should definitely get the attention. She's off to a great start. Lauren over at, I think her channel's name is Dead Flesh. Lauren Michelle, she's an Irish lady there. She's just, maybe been doing videos for, at least metal music videos for just a couple weeks. But she seems like really excited, earnest, just starting her journey. Super cool. Definitely worth checking out. Lauren at Dead Flesh there. Shout out number 2. Shout out number 3. I just had watched his video right before this. I've seen him comment on a lot of other people's videos, but I'd never watched his channel before. But Tainted Lord 87, Tony, seems like a super friendly, awesome guy. You know, I watched his response to this and definitely sold, so I subscribed to him. I'm gonna watch a bunch of more of his videos. So that's shout out number 3, Tainted Lord 87. Then I guess somebody who's fairly new to me and whose content I've been liking quite a bit. Obviously, he's been at it longer than I have for sure. Probably doing it for at least maybe a couple years. Joe's Metal Man Cave. Joe, super nice dude. He's really into black metal, but likes a lot of different stuff, a lot of different metal. Like, I know he does like dark ambient stuff. He is a musician, and he's, you know, pretty into that as well. He just did a pretty cool video about some punk records. You know, one of probably my second favorite genre of music is punk and hardcore stuff. So anybody making videos about that, you know, is always interesting to me. So yes, Joe's Metal Man Cave, shout out number 4. Okay, and then shout out number 5. There were so many good people, and it was really hard for me to pick out who else I was gonna do. But he hasn't made a video in a while, but I find his channel really entertaining. He's doing live streams and comedy stuff. Depeche Commode seems like a really cool dude. Lives in my, you know, the hometown where I grew up of Chicago. Really awesome content. Like I said, he's been kind of quiet the past few months, but hoping to see more stuff from him. I found his videos super entertaining, his Sloppy Sundays stuff. Though I wasn't really able to tune in live, I was watching them after the fact. So, shout out number 5, Depeche Commode, and I will put the links to all of their channels in the description. So, thank you for watching, thank you for visiting the Ninth Circle, and I will see you soon.